And we've got the picks and bans up now. Corrupted Keep, Awoken, and Ruins coming out. What do y'all think about this?
I'd probably say with Ruins as the final map, Cooler's probably going to be looking to at least try and end this 2-0. That's a big ask against someone like Kilson. Ruins, I would say Kilson's been on and off, but in recent form the last few weeks in Pro League, he's been doing extremely well, keeping out with the pressure, trying to keep him on spawn. And I think he learned a lot of that against his matchups against Avik. He's had some close series against him on Ruins back in Stage 3 and in Stage 4. But, you know, with the maps, it seems like more in Kilson's favour. There's no Blood Covenant, you know, there's no Blood Run for Cooler. So it's going to be a little bit of a challenge for him, I think. But we know what Cooler's like. He is one of those players where he leaves very little room for error and always bullies for the items to no end.
Yeah. I also want to note that this is a rematch of the Quake Pro League kickoff finals. Kilson took on Cooler, and if you think back to that matchup, all you can remember is such a happy Kilson face and such a disappointed Cooler face. But it looks like we are ready to hop into this matchup, and I'm gonna actually hop in the casting chair. So let's toss it over to myself and Flea. What's up, buddy? It's great to be casting here with you.
Oh, absolutely, man. It's an honor to be alongside a legend of Quake casting such as yourself. And these two players are legends in their own right as well. We've got Cooler, we've got Kilson. Starting off on the Germans' perspective, it's Ranger versus Galena.
Yeah, no, I mean, the fact that this is a rematch really makes me excited. I mean, it's not, of course, they have played before, but this is a point where there's so much on the line. A standoff here early on, we see the orb go out there. Kilson is going to decide to disengage from there. I can't really say that either of them took away. Cooler came out a little bit better, but they're going to be setting up here for the next engagement.
No split between the items just yet though. It will be Kilson taking heavy, Cooler securing himself the Mega. Both players content just setting up on their side of the map. Cooler would prefer to be on the other side because he's got those totems, he's got that extra health regeneration in his pocket. So of course he wants to prioritize heavy instead. Now Kilson, as we all know, setting up around the center area of the map, he is just waiting to pounce on his prey.
Yep, nice rocket coming out there, anticipating Cooler from the side. Cooler's going to answer back with some LG, and I like Kilson playing very patiently here. There's certainly a calculated game already, but here the attacks, rockets raining down from above. There's a little bit of damage there. Cooler, not as much armor, but there he is going to get back up, and I guess that's also one of the benefits of having those totems. And now we're going to have a fight here at the top by the LG. Kilson down to 40. Oh, it thought the orb was going to go through, but Cooler with the rocket launcher for the kill and the first one to get on the board.
That click, Wheat, that click.
Yeah, I know.
Switches to the rocket, out of ammo, can't put down a single point of damage as he switches back desperately so. But too little, too late, and that allows Cooler to get himself one frag up on the board. Tildo, Kilson, not in too bad of a shape. Cooler unable to really establish control off of this as Kilson takes away the Mega.
You know, having watched nice LG, the shotgun conversion there, and I was going to say, you know, having watched Cooler, and maybe another conversion frag here on that one, can't pick it up, but can walk away comfortably knowing that Kilson is hurting. And what I keep on wanting to try to say, but they jump into action, is that Cooler historically always been someone who, right, wants to get that first frag, like wants to set the pace of a battle. So, you know, I think it is pretty interesting to see him get up there and even get a second one. Kilson now running for his life right now.
I mean, as you mentioned, Cooler, a player who loves being in control. Some of his nicknames include the Pac-Man and the Constrictor, because he will just eat up every single bit of resources on the map, leaving his opponent with next to nothing to work with. And getting in control is, of course, a vital part of that strategy. Now, we are starting to see a bit of a discrepancy in the item timings. Heavy up 10 seconds before Mega. Cooler could actually set up a strong rotation and get himself a dominant position on the map here on out.
Yeah, I agree. He's going to try for it right now. Heavy picked up, make his way over to the Mega Health room. He's got an LG lock on Kilson. Kilson trying to hide behind. He'll use the orb to get out of there, but
Hold up.
I also just want to say that Cooler, his aim is looking better than I've seen this entire tournament. We've watched him a few times earlier today as well, but his LG right now, the tracking, it is sublime. Just perfectly locking onto his opponent, dishing out so much damage, and Kilson unable to keep up with that onslaught of cells coming his way.
Yeah, there's still a lot of time here. Kilson maybe having a little problem wrangling back some control right now, but he seems to still be playing smart, picking battles, you know, trying to at least work on the health and armor of Cooler before committing to anything. And here we have the Heavy picked up again with another transition over the Mega Health. Kilson's waiting there for it. Rockets coming from above. Is he going to go for it? He does. He grabs it. Kilson still rans a couple of rockets, but comes out on the bad end of that exchange. Third frag goes to Cooler.
Well played by the Russian. Kilson now on the ropes as Cooler looking to build some momentum, start that snowball that this map is so well known for, denying both small armors. And now Kilson, no resources. If Cooler manages to deny this Heavy as well and do some damage, his opponent is going to be in so much trouble. Rockets are decent as well, more so. Kilson will drop down dead instantly. Cooler looking so on point right now, Wheat.
Yeah, and Kilson, I don't think expected Cooler to be where he was when he came through. I mean, that was a very ambitious entrance through that archway, and was suddenly surprised when Cooler had a couple of rockets to greet him there. And he's going to pick up another frag. Again, Cooler, you know, playing kind of a perfect game right now. And you mentioned his aim, Flea, and I have to double you on that. I think his LG's been nice. His rockets have been really good, and most importantly, like, definitely anticipation on where Kilson might be. So the question now comes with less than 5 minutes on the clock. You know, Kilson, it's hard enough to try to turn this around, but then to pick up 6 frags, certainly possible. But you know, it's gonna be a tough one.
This map has had such a beautiful rhythm to it as well. If you watch Cooler's plays, he fights over at Mega, gets the frag, goes up to the small armor on top, the small armor below, and just ready just like that time and time again. Now Kilson dropping down aggressively, stealing away the Mega, taking a bit of damage there though. The shotgun comes out, reigns supreme. Cooler, so strong right now.
Yeah, you know, I suppose if you have to make a move, right? You're not going to win the game from 0 without making a move. After Mega, maybe that was the right time. Cooler certainly had other plans, and I think shotgun was absolutely the right weapon to answer back with. We're going to have an LG battle just outside of Mega Health right here, and we do see the orb come out, but it's not going to matter. Cooler still engaging at around 81. Kilson did grab that Mega. Yet again, we're going to have Heavy up in a little bit, but we've got some time between those two. I suspect that's where we'll see our next engagement.
Kilson, sneaky positioning right. They're actually landing a good amount of LG damage. Cooler has got a few bubbles to help him stack back up, but it will be Kilson securing the Heavy and actually getting a stack advantage for the first time in minutes now. Now there's 3 minutes left on the clock. That is enough time for Kilson to mount a comeback on a map as small as Corrupted Keep, but it is going to be extremely challenging.
Yeah, I agree. About to hit that 4-minute mark. Another totem goes down, and Cooler has the opportunity to just slow it down a little bit. We mentioned he wants to set the pace at the beginning, and he's never really stopped the Cooler pace 7 minutes in. Kilson totally capable. Okay? We can find the Kilson pace. Unfortunately, you've got to open the door before you can walk through it, and that seems to be the problem. Cooler just continues to lock it away. He is the janitor with all of the keys, and I don't know if he's going to give Kilson a chance.
I also think that it might have something to do with the lack of a railgun on this map. Quite some time ago, Kilson earned himself the nickname Railson for having one of the most exquisite railguns in the entire series. And this map is the only one in the pool that doesn't have that weapon available, so he cannot do that chip damage, that consistent long distance pining away at his opponent's stack, and it might actually be hurting him as Cooler is definitely coming out on top in these close range engagements. Once again, LG into the heavy machine gun, and Cooler looking to 10-0 his opponent at least.
Yeah, and this is, you know, obviously there's a point in time where Cooler can just say, awesome, I can just play 1000% defensive and I have won this game. At some point, it's not not going to come back. But we also know that Cooler is a player that likes to play the mental game as much as he likes to play the game of coordination. And if he can, you know, dirty up the carpet here with his boots and then like just stomp all around, he will. And so I don't suspect to see him coming up. But Kilson finally getting on the board with a nice orb. He is on the board. Now, unfortunately, just like we said, I don't think he's going to be able to mount a comeback.
Yeah, no, the time just isn't there. Barely more than a minute left to work with, even on a map like Corrupted Keep, where you can chain those frags together. I really just don't see it happening anymore. All Cooler has to do is just hold the break, stay back. He's even gonna get himself a frag. That rocket bounced his opponent sky high, and then the heavy machine gun just dealt super nice damage. Looks like he's gonna drop down once more. Yeah, Cooler, 10 frag lead already.
Yep, very, very nice. As we get to the final minute of this game, both players probably already thinking mentally about what is coming next. And you mentioned it earlier, Flea, but it is interesting between Keep and Awoken, getting two fairly fast-paced maps back-to-back. Should be pretty interesting what kind of momentum Cooler actually gets from this win right here with 30 seconds left. Kilson even throwing out the wow there.
Nice one.
This one is going to go to Cooler. He'll take map 1 in this best of 3 series as we count down the final moments here on Keep.
Now, of course, Cooler looking so strong. Kilson has to take a moment to reset, regain his composure, and I think that is something that he is very capable of doing. This man has been around the block a lot. One of the absolute veteran players in the scene, has been through so many important games. So I think if anyone's capable of just staying calm, regaining that composure, and resetting his mindset going into the next map, it'll be Kilson.
Yeah, you know, we talked with Kilson early on in the tournament. We had a chance to do an interview with him. And one of the things that he felt like his strength was that ability to, you know, evaluate a game and say, this is where I messed up, or this is what this player was doing well, or this is why I had trouble in that game. And not necessarily coming from a place of tilt, right? And we've seen that emotion come out in game, but, you know, Kilson attributes that to one of the, you know, the secrets to his success as it relates to everything that's happened in the Quake Pro League and here at the Quake World Championship. So is that, you know, is that enough? I think if you're playing Quake at this level and at this caliber, a single loss just cannot, you know, really affect you, right? It is move on to the next game, focus on the next game, and just at this point win 2 in a row.
Absolutely, and I think that Kilson could definitely be up for the task, but on the other hand, ZSX came into this saying that Kilson was looking better than Cooler based on what we've seen so far, but the Cooler we just saw on Corrupted Keep, the aim, the positioning, the strategy, everything was so on point, and Kilson just seemed lost at times on the map. So I really have some concerns for the German player from Big, as Cooler is looking and fixing to take this one home.
I mean, it is kind of insane to think about that this is a one champion falls matchup, right? That regardless of the outcome, either Cooler wins the next map or Kilson takes the next 2. One of the champions that we've seen throughout the 4 stages here of the QPL falls and is gone. And, you know, that's just got to be a rough thing to experience as a player. But I know fans out there, the Cooler fans and the Kilson fans, they are at the edge of their seats right now, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Chat, make some noise. I know there's a lot of Cooler fans out there, a lot of Kilson fans watching as well. Who do you think is going to take this one? Who do you want to win? Make some noise for your favorite player as we are loading into the second map of this series, which will be Awoken.
Yeah, so talking a little bit, it's Sorlag versus Astrog, and on Awoken, with the rail, you know, what do you think, right? What do you think Kilson tries to do? Just capitalize on all the things that we talked about, bring out his strengths. I do think he's got a little bit of an advantage here with Sorlag, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Kilson definitely going to be able to make good use of that railgun weapon, one of his signature tools of destruction. Of course, he has the better stack, he's got a lot of movement speed, but of course an easier target to hit as well. And if Cooler's LG and his shotgun is as on point as it was on the previous map, Kilson is looking to take a lot of damage here.
Well, immediately went for that rail, looking for whatever peak shock he can possibly land, and it already just through movement, I feel like there is a new Kilson on the playfield, a new level of confidence. Of course, we haven't seen this first engagement yet, so we'll reserve exactly what happens here. Cooler playing this one a little bit slower, right? Maybe he wants to set pace in a different way. Kilson, though, he feels like something's up here.
Good read by Kilson. Rocket didn't connect, but he knew exactly where Cooler was waiting for him. Now Kilson securing the heavy this time. Cooler picking up the Mega. Decent amount of delay between the items, though, around 7 seconds. That is absolutely doable. If Kilson decides to rocket jump up from heavy or something, he could totally make it there on time. So Cooler has to make sure he has proper positioning when these items are about to spawn, or Kilson could use this as an opportunity to get a quick head start. And that rail is going to help.
Yeah, that first rail comes out. He's going to block it up with some spit as well, forcing Cooler to basically go a single direction. And it was towards the Mega Health, but Kilson was there to pick it up. He is going to find Cooler, and oh my gosh, the LG runs out, fires the rockets. He walks out with the first frag, but at 55 health, picks up a 25 and also a light to put himself at least back in or out of danger. But Kilson does get on the board with the first frag, and just like you said, Flea, using that rail to his advantage.
Very gutsy play from the German right there. Of course, dropping down onto anyone's LG is always a bit risky, but Kilson confident in his ability, also taking down a little peeker right there. The delay between the items has essentially been reset, 2 seconds between Mega and Heavy, so Kilson unable to really capitalize off that first frag by getting good dominant positioning on the map. And he's just listening out. I think he realizes that Cooler probably doesn't have a railgun yet, and he's trying to set up a trap.
Well, we'll see if that is going to happen right now. And, you know, you mentioned about Kilson's rail and taking a little bit of risk there, but what I found is that with the players who play at this level on an international stage, you've got to have the confidence that you're going to hit those rails. Of course, hitting them is another story, but just having that confidence, you know, it's so important. So Kilson slowing it down a little bit despite being on the board with that first frag, and I think that's the smart way to play this game. Cooler's definitely feeling things out. There's some tri-bolt damage does come out just a little bit. It reveals Cooler's position, and now Kilson just waiting very patiently for Cooler. There, the Mega comes up, and now the Heavy is going to be there, and yeah, Kilson converts over and grabs both of them.
Yeah, as you said, Cooler playing a bit more passively right now, trying to react to what Kilson is doing. Cooler, very well known to be one of the most adaptable players in the scene, constantly reading his opponent, trying to figure out what the best course of action is next. And he had to give up both of the items to Kilson for the time being. Good LG trap right there, doing a fair bit as Kilson goes up the bounce pad. It's still Cooler. Won't be able to do anything about Mega or Heavy, it seems. Again, Kilson collecting both of them. That's the second rotation he's done that now, Wheat.
Yeah, and probably the best thing that Cooler could have asked for was to negate that stack, which he kind of did. Of course, Kilson got it right back. A nice rocket through the teleporter there. And Kilson running, well, actually, I would think he'd play a little bit more defensive out of that, but he knows where Cooler is. He's got a bead on him, and he knows that Cooler's a little trapped there. He switches from the rail to the rocket launcher. I thought he was going to just try to ping a hit there. Drops down, goes for the shot, doesn't make that one, but the Heavy is waiting there. And we got Cooler now on the chase. In fact, it looks like he's going to keep it down. Throws out the Seeker. Seeker completely annihilated. And 4 minutes on the clock. Oh my God!
Oh, Cooler even throwing out the LOL in the chat.
Oh my God.
I mean, it happens so often on this map, right? It happens towards the LG, it happens over at the railgun side of the map. If you move too fast, that one little bit of damage coming from either side can just send you spiraling off the map, and that is going to be disappointing for Cooler because he was starting to make such a good comeback happen. Caught in a bad spot right now. Kilson, though, unable to really make anything of it.
Yeah.
Just to the rail, but it can't quite connect.
Yeah, I thought those rockets were going to be doing a little bit more damage, but Cooler came out of there looking pretty good. Kilson lands another rail, and I think as long as he feels confident and keeps connecting with those, not giving Cooler those opportunities to get those LG streams on him, that he's going to be very happy. But Kilson now hurting a little bit, down to 50. LG does come out, and but Kilson had the idea on his own. I'm actually shocked by that. Cooler with the larger stack, but just lost the battle. 3-0 now for Kilson.
Yeah, I really don't know if Cooler intended to drop down or if that rocket explosion just sent him a step too far over the edge, because that was a bit of a strange decision. Yes, he had the stack advantage, but not by the amount or the extent that you would say, okay, you can drop onto Kilson's LG. Now, another LG on LG fight. Kilson getting dangerously low, but so is Cooler. Both of the items are up, and it will be Cooler just rushing in with the shotgun, getting himself another frag.
Who does that?
Cooler.
I mean, he does. They were about equal in health. That was very, very risky, but I actually like a lot of the shotgun play that we have been seeing, not only this weekend, but kind of through QPL. I feel like players really using it the way that it was always intended. Cooler now on the board. Now, he wasn't able to take that frag and convert that to anything else, but what he's hopefully trying to do is convert that into some level of control. He's at least going to get the heavy. It might be one of the few that he has picked up, if not the first in this matchup. He's going to go into LG Battle. Seeker comes out, gets the damage, but Kilson is going to heal right back up, and now we're just back to square one yet again.
Yep, Cooler back to the drawing board, has to completely fabricate and manufacture a comeback. Those shoddy blasts are awfully nice. And Cooler actually has the stack advantage right now. Clever positioning should give him the heavy. Kilson has to come all the way around. That rail, oh, another one! I was about to say that rail stops Kilson's attempt at doing anything on these items, but Cooler just lands another one straight off the bat and is pressuring heavy with the LG now as well.
Oh, that was huge, too. He doesn't grab the Mega yet. I think he thought, well, I might still get one more shot here. He does finally get it after grabbing the Mega, and suddenly, for the first time, Cooler really looks to be in control. He's still down by one frag, so he needs to keep it here. Grabs a light, and the heavy is going to be up here in just a moment. Sends the Seeker over and around the side. Once again, Kilson hurting pretty bad, but he's playing well defensively and not allowing Cooler to find that frag that would indeed tie this game up with 3 minutes left to go.
Still plenty of time indeed. Kilson cleverly staying out of Cooler's clutches right now. He knows that if he can just hang on to the precarious lead he has, he should be able to at least tie up the map score. But Cooler, hungry for damage, hungry to just settle things with a clean 2-0 victory. He does not want this to go to the third and final map, and securing heavy is going to be an important part of doing so. He wants to apply pressure. He is continuously trying to chase Kilson now. I love the peekers coming out. Good damage every single time.
Oh my god, Balls of Steel once again coming up that jump pad with the LG, and he will tie it up 3-3. Did have the little bit of Seeker damage coming off of that, but put himself in danger by going up that jump pad. LG versus LG still wins the battle, and now we've got ourselves a tie game with 2 minutes left to go.
Oh, the LG, murderous. Kilson hurting and will go down. And man, Cooler just taking these fights perfectly. Earlier on the Mega as well, that was so confident, knowing that the Mega, the item, would spawn in the middle of the fight. Getting that health injection, that was crucial to him winning that. And now, 90 seconds left on the clock. Cooler, all he has to do is stay alive, but Kilson, that is one angry Sorlek trying to chase him down.
Yeah, and I mean, right now it's pretty split in terms of power-ups here, but we're going to have a fight down near the heavy. It is picked up by Kilson. Not before Cooler does a little bit of damage. Coming up the jump pad again, it's LG. Oh, and Kilson's going to tie it back up 4-4. A minute 10 on the clock. He comes out of that just limping, staggering, wearing a ton of band-aids. He only had 34 health, but grabs that Mega as a reward and is looking pretty good as we go into this final minute, what could eventually be overtime.
Risky play from Kilson. Oh, the rails are good. Cooler, he's hurting. Kilson sees the peeker come out. Is he going to pressure this any further? He knows that Cooler has got nothing to work with. Doesn't get the shot. Just barely caught a pixel of his opponent, and there we go.
Nice.
Cooler was not expecting his opponent to be there at all, whereas Kilson got the perfect read off, and now all the pressure is on the Russian.
Yeah, super well done by Kilson. I mean, I loved what Cooler did with the Seeker to kind of use it as a way to push Kilson's back, but Kilson knew that Cooler was tough, or was hurting, and had the opportunity to end it with a rail there. Perfectly done. 15 seconds left. At this point, Kilson can just kind of run away, and he's going to come after Cooler at the very end. Down to 41 points of health, 5 seconds left. The Seeker tries to clean it up, but that's not going to happen, and Kilson will take game 2 5-4 in what was a very, very close matchup.
That was a clutch rail at the end there, Wheat. If he had missed the shot on the peaker, that would have been it. He absolutely would have gotten destroyed right there, but he landed a shot when it mattered the most, and Kilson just showing that he's a tried and tested champion in his own right, tying things right back up 1-1 as we're about to move into our decider of the series.
Yeah, and I really did like that matchup. I mean, that's kind of what you expect to see out of players of this caliber. Certainly some of the advantages and or strengths that you talked about Kilson we saw come out there, but I think the same thing can be said about Cooler, right? Still calm, collected throughout the whole matchup. Same with Kilson. Traded some frags back and forth, some of them preventable, others not so much, just great positioning and great insight into where their opponent is. That double rail through the teleporter was phenomenal. And now we move on to Ruins. And, you know, as we go into match the third map, where we can kind of say, well, it doesn't matter what happened on Corrupted Keep, it doesn't matter what happened on Awoken, it only matters what happens on Ruins, and one champion is still going to fall.
Absolutely, and we're getting an interesting matchup as well. Kilson will be running the Visor, so he's got that piercing side to work with. As we all know, his rail is exquisite, and having that ability will only amplify his ability to do damage with it, whereas Cooler is running the Anarchy. So Cooler going for mobility. He has a lot of speed, but on the other hand, he also has lower stack. And as we all know, Ruins of Sarnath out of control. As a small champion, you're going to have a bad time, because both small armors are in such difficult locations to pick up that if you show your face there, you're almost definite to get a lot of damage in return.
Yeah, you mentioned Kilson's rail too throughout the second matchup, and even at the end of the first one with Cooler walking away as the victor. And I have to say, it's what kind of gives me the leg up on Kilson in this one. But again, this being a championship match, this being Kilson and Cooler, you know, it's really hard to predict, right? I mean, both of these players want it real bad. I don't know if I can make an argument for who wants it more. Kilson certainly setting himself up. It would be a kind of disappointing finale, if you will, if he won the kickoff, won stage 3, and then didn't quite make it out of that initial lower bracket. But I don't know if you have any thoughts on that as we head into Ruins.
I mean, I'm also going to agree with you right there. I think that Kilson should have the upper hand if we look exclusively at just the champion pick on this particular map. The Visor will be crucial. The piercing side can help him so much on Ruins, a map with a lot of these long open distances where you can line those shots up perfectly. But of course, Cooler is fast. He is nimble. He will be able to dodge a lot of that incoming damage as well. And either way, this is such an important map. The winner will advance down to the lower bracket. The loser will be dropping out of the tournament altogether, Wheat.
You know what? We're not even playing, but I still feel like we're executioners a little bit, Flea. I don't know. I kind of feel bad. One of these players going to have to go home, but one of them's going to be that much closer to potentially staying alive in this Quake World Championships. We kick things off, and Kilson going to get that initial heavy spawn, but we're still going to have a battle down in the pits, and Cooler comes out on top, 69 points of health. And he just said, hey, my LG's been on all game. I'm going to rely on it. Walks out with the first frag.
Yep, Cooler, definitely his tracking has been absolutely on fire, and he knew that having the weapon advantage, Lightning Gun versus starting Machine Gun, would be enough for him to overcome Kilson. And now he already has a perfect rotation lined up. 15 seconds between these items. Heavy first, now Mega up next. What a shot! My goodness, the reactions on this man. Cooler has been around the block for a while, Wheat. He's no longer a sprightly 16-year-old with reflexes like mad. That is incredibly impressive.
Yeah, it really is. At this point in time, he's able to hit single pixels on models, but that is still nice. And Since he represents some of the older folks like myself, I gotta say I'm pretty proud. But you know, Kilson, he's an OG too. Let's not count him out yet. We still have a lot of battle going back and forth, but as you mentioned, Cooler with the initial control of the power-ups. Mega is about to spawn there. He might have to fight a little bit over this. Nope, he's gonna spam his way into the room. Even lands a rail before picking it up. Also gives him very nice known timing on when that heavy is gonna come, and sets himself up to be able to bounce back and forth between the two.
I mean, I think all Kilson has managed to pick up is that initial heavy. Everything since has been going to Cooler, both the megas and the armors alike. And that has given him a pretty sizable stack to work with. Cooler not entirely sure where his opponent is at. Kilson is down towards lower green, lower small armor. Both players cautious. Confrontation. Big rockets coming on through. Cooler more eager to take this fight, knowing that he has a mega behind him to fall back on.
Yeah, I gotta say, the one angle on Kilson's last rocket there was pretty impressive. Oh my gosh! A second rocket coming out, and just directly, it went right down the throat of Cooler, and Kilson, I think he was even surprised a second, picked up that heavy, and we're now tied 1-1, but here comes Cooler back on top, down to 3 points of health. He does manage to get it with that nail, and Cooler takes the lead back.
Heavy will be the next major point of contest. I think this is a good push from Kilson. Cooler doesn't have rockets, doesn't have LG. All he has is that heavy nail gun to defend himself with. Kilson jumping on right on through Kilson. I think that probably was quite a misplay. That's the only range at which Cooler could have won. If Kilson has kept his distance with LG, that should have been a win to him. LG is looking fire. Cooler, though, popping the injection won't save him that time. Kilson making a comeback happen. One frag tonight.
So interesting coming off of that. You know, like he won that matchup, and I completely agree with you. Had we seen Kilson kind of stay back, use that LG to his advantage, I think that would have been a lot less damage inflicted on himself. With the same thing being said, Kilson now on sort of the frag conversion, but you know, unable to hit the power-ups thus far. He's waiting for Mega to spawn. It's a question on whether or not Cooler's going to come in. There he uses that piercing sight. He's like, damn it, Cooler is now over at Mega. He's going to lose that and potentially the heavy here. So I don't feel like Kilson actually gained much off of that, you know, that frag.
Absolutely. Cooler immediately just regaining proper full control of both of the major items. Again, 10 seconds between Mega and Heavy. So he is quite nicely set up to secure both of them continuously from now on out. Kilson wants to do some damage with the railgun. He still has the better positioning on the item, but realizes he is outstacked. Doesn't want to stick around to see and find out if he can win that fight. Rather reposition. Get an even better setup for Heavy, using that piercing sight so he can gauge exactly where Cooler is going to come from. And the item will be going his way. Solid play from Kilson.
Yeah, it was. That was like the guarantee I'm going to get this one. And I think Cooler knew it, right? He didn't attempt to go for that heavy. Coming out of the teleporter, though, Cooler's there to greet him. And it's going to go back into an LG battle. Kilson in the danger zone, down to 4 points of health. And the LG comes back out. Mega is up. And Cooler with a 2-frag advantage. Now we're about to hit this 5-minute mark. And I got to say, this has been an excellent back-and-forth game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Neither player really just dominating the other. Yes, Cooler has been the one in control of both of the items for most of the game, but Kilson has been doing an excellent job at still keeping it as close as possible, preventing his Russian opponent from just completely walking over him. That's a good opening rail. Kilson is railable. Cooler rather is going to push in, looking for the final shot, but Kilson has already vacated the area, determined not to show his face, knowing that he is damn weak.
Well, there's finally a rail that comes out. I was about to say that I feel like Cooler's been landing the rails that he needed to land it. A beautiful rocket! Oh my god, he saves the heavy. Kilson doesn't land on it. It bounced him up. He hit the ceiling, immediately came down, and Cooler grabs not only another frag, but also the heavy off of that one. Very unfortunate for Kilson.
Cooler absolutely coming out on top in that engagement, and just look at the control he is now starting to build with. This might be the first time that we are seeing complete map dominance. Cooler kind of expecting Kilson to show up, setting up perhaps a bit of a trap at first, waiting behind those walls around the heavy. Nice little delay going on.
Yeah, how long is he going to let that one delay? Because Mega's down to the 5-6. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe he hasn't heard it. Maybe thinks Kilson's still right outside. Mega's now up, literally grabbed at the exact same time by both players. Kilson grabbing the Mega, Cooler with the heavy. I think at this point, Cooler wants that heavy. And here we go. Rockets exchanged as Kilson comes down. The back and forth, just little chips of damage. Neither comes out great, but both have pretty much lost their stacks.
I think that's extremely long delay was just to kind of mess with Kilson, knowing that he can just ride it out for these final few minutes. If he doesn't, or if he offsets the items as he has been doing and Kilson gets one frag on him, Kilson can basically just jump into that rotation and carry it on. But by resetting the time difference, Cooler rather might just be cementing himself and guaranteeing at least one of the items going his way from now on.
Yeah, I think that's a astute observation, and I would say it's probably right in line. I mean, you know, Cooler's definitely thinking about, you know, this game in terms of like several minutes ahead. And hold on, we got a fight here in the I room where we've got a Rail that went into LG, and now Cooler on the run, despite the fact that Kilson was the one that was about to die. He maybe thinks he could pick up that frag at another location. Was he right? Tries to find a rocket around the edge, and Kilson's still fighting this one, a bit surprised. But he knows that he's got 3 frags that he's got to make up for in the next 2.5 minutes.
Yes, indeed. All the pressure on the German. His tournament life is on the line right now. He needs to catch the Anarchy. Easier said than done, and it'll be Cooler who just stomps right into him, securing a beautiful frag and then Rail as well. Cooler. This is a completely different player I feel like we've seen earlier today, Wheat. Cooler has just been revitalized, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, it does happen every once in a while, Flea. We have seen, I made mention of the, if you go back and watch the QuakeCon 2019 finals, you would see a completely different set of games. And I think to that point, Cooler is a player who's like, he's showing up, or maybe he's like kind of showing up, and this is definitely a I'm showing up situation. And maybe that was the case. He took on Toxic this morning, eliminated Toxic. You know, if I was Cooler, I'd be saying to myself, well, let's just kick out as many of these players as we possibly can on our way fighting through the lower bracket. I mean, Kilson is certainly no slouch though, and I think to your point, he's been able to set the pace in game 1 and game 3, and that's where he's the most comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. And now 80 seconds left to work with. If this was Corrupted Keep, I would have said this might still be possible, but this seems borderline undoable for Kilson. Not only is he several frags behind, but Cooler is so much faster. If you want to get away as Anarchy, it is as simple as that. You pop the injection, maybe even fire off a rocket jump, and Kilson just can't follow. He doesn't have that mobility to him because he picked Visor. So Visor works really well if you're in control and you can dish out the damage, but once you have to chase, the lack of speed backfires, and Cooler, that will be the nail in the coffin. That will be the one to seal the deal. I don't think it's even mathematically possible anymore at this point. Wheat, beautiful games by the Russian today.
Yeah, I mean, incredible work taking out 2 players like Toxic and Kilson in a single day. That's not too shabby at all. And the final you know, matchup, or the final score is going to be somewhere 2-7 or so. It's not really going to matter at this point. The most important thing to note is that Cooler has taken this series 2-1, winning Corrupted Keep and Ruins, and I hear the chat comes out, but there we go. The game is up 7-2. Kilson, the champion of the kickoff and the champion of Stage 3, has been eliminated from the Quake World Championship by another champion himself, the winner of Stage 1 and longtime Russian Quake master, Cooler. Really unbelievable, Flea. I know that there's a lot that I can't wait for all of us to talk about here as we shoot into analysis, but we are going to take a quick break first. So thanks for joining us here for day 2 of the Quake World Championship. Don't go away, because we are going to be right back.